Yeah, and he going to jail again. And yeah, he ain't grew up tough like his daddy.
And she'll floss your teeth with my shoelaces, nigga. Play with me, bro. Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with mine, bro. Don't play with mine. Just don't play with mine.
What happens when the loudest trash talker online finally crosses paths with a father who's had enough? When clout chasing turns into a straight-up family war, somebody's bound to get burned. Charleston White thought he was untouchable, running his live streams like a late-night circus, throwing wild shots at celebrities just to get clicks. But this time, he picked the wrong opponent. Clifford T.Y. Harris, the king of the South, a man who doesn't play when it comes to his household. T.I. has dealt with rap beefs, industry drama, and endless critics. But the second Charleston brought King Harris, his son, into the mix, the line got crossed in blood red ink. See, you can clown the music, you can question the money, you can even throw dirt at T.I. as a man. But once you target his family, that's when it turns from jokes to war. And the internet caught every second of T.I. snapping back with a fury we haven't seen in years. This wasn't polished PR talk. It was raw emotion, no filters, no hesitation, just a father ready to defend his name and his child. Twitter was a wildfire, hashtags exploding by the minute, Instagram timelines drowned in savage memes. And over on YouTube, the debates raged on. Was Charleston White exposing ugly truths? Or was he just a bitter loudmouth desperate for views? One thing's for sure, Ty made it clear, the Harris clan ain't playing games anymore. And Charleston, he might have just written his own social media obituary without even realizing it. Let's rewind this circus and break it down, because to understand why YouTube blew up like dynamite, you gotta know exactly who Charleston White is, and why his mouth is more dangerous than a loaded gun on the block. This dude isn't just some regular troll tapping on a keyboard. Charleston literally built a whole career off stirring up chaos, and people keep feeding into it. Imagine this. Every morning he wakes up, grabs his coffee, and instead of scrolling for peace, he logs in just to spit venom at the world. Rappers, activists, dead legends, even people's kids. Nobody is safe from Charleston's disrespect. His hit list is ridiculous. Tupac, dragged. Nipsey Hussle, mocked. Jay-Z, laughed at. And now, he went after King Harris, a kid still trying to find his own lane just because it's easy content for Charleston's brand of poison. His whole formula is toxic but effective. Grab a famous name, twist it into some foul punchline, scream it on a live stream, and cash in while messy drama lovers click and share. But here's where Charleston really miscalculated. King Harris ain't just another name for him to clown. King is the son of Clifford T.Y. Harris, a man who's not only a rap icon, but also a father who's built his whole image around protecting and standing by his family.
First thing I thought, little yellow motherfucker got a big mouth with some pink lips. Yeah, he got some highly unusual white woman shaped pink, but he got a big mouth like the front of a platypus. Yeah, so he a funny looking little yellow motherfucker with that long hair, with that blonde at the end of it. Yeah. Yeah, he look more like Tiny. He didn't do Tip. Yeah, and he going to jail again. He ain't grew up tough like his daddy. Him and Lil Tootie Raw should be the new Salt and Pepper group.
And the second Charleston tried using that same gimmick on King Harris, the internet didn't just watch, it erupted. Nuclear energy, headlines everywhere, and a firestorm that T.I. wasn't about to let slide. Now let's put some focus on King Harris for a second. Yeah, King's name has popped up before, flexing stacks of cash on Instagram, talking reckless in interviews, and even going viral after messy run-ins with fans. He's grown up under flashing cameras, trying to figure out fame, fortune, and the heavy shadow of a father who calls himself the King of the South. That pressure alone could break most people. And like any young man still learning, King's made his share of mistakes. But does that mean Charleston White gets a free pass to tear him apart in front of millions? Charleston didn't just shade King, he went nuclear with it. He called him soft, clowned his looks, and then crossed the line in the ugliest way possible, dragging Trayvon Martin's name into his rant just for shock value. Imagine the audacity. turning someone's personal struggles and even a national tragedy into punchlines for clicks. That's not comedy, that's cruelty dressed up as content, and the world knew it the second the clip hit timelines. And here's where it got explosive. T.I. saw it, and instead of brushing it off, he snapped. This wasn't rapper T.I. carefully crafting bars. This was Clifford Harris, the father, the protector, coming out swinging with pure fury. He went live, he posted, he unleashed raw emotion that showed one thing clear. This was personal. T.I. didn't mince words. He demanded respect for his family and told Charleston straight up that speaking on his son wasn't just crossing a line, it was erasing the whole damn line. The internet lit up instantly. Hashtags flying everywhere. Protect King started trending, Charleston Exposed was everywhere, and fans even flipped T.I.'s nickname into TIP Fed Up. It was like watching digital fireworks explode across every platform. But Charleston, true to his brand of chaos, he didn't fold. Not even close. Instead of backing down, he doubled down. More rants, more insults, and then the wildest twist of all. He challenged T.I. to a boxing match. That's right, a nearly 50-year-old YouTube shock jock calling out a multi-platinum rap legend to throw hands in the ring just because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Now let's sprinkle in some spice, because according to an anonymous source, you know the type, always popping up when the drama is at a boiling point, Charleston's beef with T.I. wasn't random at all. Word is Charleston had been plotting on T.I. for months, slowly building this feud as his lifeline. Why? Simple. His views were slipping, his shock value was wearing off, and he needed a fresh villain to drag into his circus just to stay relevant. And who better than Clifford Harris, a rap legend, a proud father, and a man with a son who's already under a microscope? Charleston thought he had the perfect formula to go viral again. But what he didn't expect was just how far T.I. was ready to take it. We've seen Tip wear many hats, rapper, actor, activist, even reality TV dad. But this version of T.I., it was unfiltered, raw, and absolutely fed up. He didn't just clap back at Charleston for dissing King. He dragged him for exploiting black pain, weaponizing trauma, and hiding behind a persona built entirely on hate. And here's the twist. For once, people actually sided with T.I. The internet wasn't just giggling at the chaos. Parents, fans, even longtime critics of Tip admitted Charleston had crossed a line that should never be touched. This wasn't about rap beef anymore. It was about dignity, family, and where the culture draws the line in the sand. But oh, it gets juicier. Behind the scenes, whispers started flying. Is Charleston White really moving on his own? Or is he on somebody's payroll? Conspiracy heads claim Charleston might be a puppet, sent out to stir up drama with celebrities to distract from bigger issues brewing in society. Sounds crazy, right? But in today's world, where coincidence barely exists, fans were connecting dots that maybe weren't even there. Meanwhile, the so-called victim in all this, King Harris, shocked everybody. Instead of spiraling, he showed composure people didn't expect. He addressed the madness with a surprising maturity that left folks wondering if the son was handling things better than the grown man who started the fire in the first place. Picture this: King Harris, brushing Charleston's insults off like dust off designer kicks, calm and collected while the man twice his age is foaming at the mouth. Imagine that. The teenager showing more restraint than the grown provocateur who swears he's running the internet. And that's where the scandal takes a wild turn. This stopped being just about Charleston White throwing trash talk. It became a spotlight on T.Y.'s family, the way clout-chasing fuels disrespect, and how every platform from YouTubers to morning radio couldn't resist jumping in on the chaos. But don't get it twisted, this was just the opening act of the storm. Once Charleston officially declared war on T.Y.'s household, the fallout didn't end with angry comments. Suddenly, people were digging deeper. New investigations sparked, old skeletons dragged back into the daylight, and questions started flying about whether Charleston's whole career was teetering on the edge of implosion. The internet didn't just sit back and watch. Oh no, they dissected this mess like it was the season finale of Power mixed with Love and Hip Hop. Social media detectives went into overdrive, memes started dropping by the second, and the hashtags were relentless. One camp was chanting, "T.I. stand on business, protect your son at all costs," while the other side was clowning Charleston's chaos, sipping tea, and flooding timelines in all caps like Charleston never misses. But here's where it gets messy. This wasn't just another diss or a petty clapback. This was years of tension boiling over, a beef that had been simmering on low heat until somebody finally cranked the stove all the way up. And if you think this was Charleston's first rodeo, think again. This man has made headlines for years going after rappers, activists, and basically anyone breathing. Charleston White's mouth? A straight-up weapon of mass destruction. He's thrown shots at Boozy, Soulja Boy, 50 Cent, and even entire cities. Nobody's off limits. So when he zeroed in on T.I.'s son King Harris, the meltdown was inevitable. We're talking nuclear-level drama that the internet was practically waiting for. And let's be real, Charleston isn't wilding out just for fun. Nah, he's a strategist in his own twisted way. Controversy is his currency, and every outrageous line equals clicks, followers, and a new wave of viral headlines. It's the same playbook reality TV has been running for decades. Say something shocking, watch the chaos spread, and cash in. But this time, he didn't just poke any random target, he went after a family that's been living under a microscope for over 10 years.
Why you and Wallow were crying? You and Wallow were crying. Oh, my son got killed. Oh, you were crying. Now you talking about snitching. You goddamn right I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Dang, I got family. I got willing to risk their lives and freedom to die by me and mine. You hear me? Why don't play with me, man?
T.I. and Tiny built their empire right in front of the world. The highs, the scandals, the reality TV drama, all of it on display. So when Charleston dragged King into his circus, it wasn't just another diss. It was a shot fired at the Harris legacy. Now let's not pretend King Harris has been living quietly in the shadows either. From wild live streams to heated altercations, he's earned a rep as the Harris family's so-called wild child. The internet has been clowning him, criticizing him, hyping him up, sometimes all at once. So when Charleston White finally threw him under the bus, people weren't shocked. They were glued to their screens. Charleston went in on King's attitude, mocked his wannabe thug image, and straight up called him the poster child for failed celebrity parenting. Brutal doesn't even cover it. Normally, celebs ignore this kind of noise, let their lawyers or PR teams handle it and move on. But this was personal. T.I., the same man who built his career on being outspoken, wasn't about to sit back and let some YouTuber turned commentator clown his son just for likes. And when he fired back, boom! The internet felt the explosion like a digital earthquake. I didn't sugarcoat a single word. He came straight for Charleston's neck. No polite tones, no industry talk, just raw heat. He blasted Charleston not only for trashing his son, but for building an entire brand off nothing but disrespect. And just when the fire was raging, Tiny stepped in too. The matriarch of the Harris household wasn't about to sit quiet while someone came for her child. She dropped subliminal posts that hit harder than any press release, making it clear this wasn't just T.I.'s fight anymore. This was a full-blown family war. But Charleston, he didn't blink. He laughed, he mocked, he went live bragging that he was untouchable, claiming he'd exposed the truth about celebrity parenting and insisting T.I. couldn't handle real criticism. That arrogance turned a heated beef into a circus tent with millions watching the show. And once the chaos hit peak level, the rumors started flying like confetti. Fake reports flooded timelines. Insiders claiming T.I. was gearing up for legal action against Charleston White, while others swore Charleston was under investigation for his online antics. Nothing was confirmed, but when has that ever stopped the internet from spiraling out of control? Screenshots of bogus court documents went viral. People claimed they had exclusive audio of T.I. making calls to shut Charleston down. It was pure madness, and the more chaotic it got, the more people tuned in. Here's where it got even juicier. Whispers started leaking from behind the scenes. Anonymous voices claimed certain industry insiders were actually siding with Charleston White. Some agreed with his stance, saying he was shining a light on spoiled celebrity kids who'd never been checked. The possibility that powerful names in the industry might be co-signing Charleston's rants. That's when this story went from scandal to straight-up conspiracy. Celebrity kids living wild and reckless because their famous parents always clean up the mess. That's the narrative some insiders pushed. According to those whispers, Charleston White was just saying out loud what everybody else had been quietly thinking. Suddenly, this wasn't just T.I. versus Charleston anymore. It morphed into a bigger debate about celebrity privilege, parenting, and the blurred line where fame ends and real life begins, and of course, the memes poured gasoline on the fire. One viral edit showed King Harris photoshopped inside a courtroom with Charleston White sitting smugly as the judge. Another had T.I. and Tiny standing in front of a chalkboard labeled Parenting 101, as if the internet had appointed Charleston to grade their skills as parents. It was cold-blooded, but hilarious to the spectators who couldn't stop sharing it. That's when the question started buzzing everywhere. How far will this actually go? Was it just a war of words, or was it about to turn into something way bigger with real-life consequences? Fans speculated on everything from lawsuits hitting the table to a straight-up street showdown. And given T.I.'s history of never backing down from confrontation, nobody was ruling anything out. But if you zoom out, the reason this drama exploded is simple. Ego and exposure. Charleston White feeds off attention, and T.I.'s fiery reaction gave him exactly what he craved: headlines, clicks, and endless streams of content. But at the same time, T.I. wasn't about to sit silent and let people mistake his calm for weakness. That put both men in a lose-lose situation, and the internet was eating it up like fresh popcorn at a Tyler Perry premiere. And here's the wildest part. The deeper this went, the more it stopped looking like just petty beef and started feeling like a cultural showdown about parenting, respect, and how far clout chasing can really go before it blows back. In the middle of all this madness, King Harris decided he wasn't going to sit quiet. He poured gasoline straight on the fire. Instead of ducking the smoke, he hopped on his own platforms and clapped back hard. He mocked Charleston, defended his family, and made it clear no old head was going to dictate how he lived his life. And that's when the generational divide cracked wide open. The younger crowd cheered him on, calling King a legend in the making for standing his ground. But others dragged him for looking soft compared to the relentless smoke Charleston White was pumping out. That clash, old school respect versus new school defiance, turned the feud into something way bigger. This wasn't just T.I. versus Charleston anymore. It was the streets versus the internet, tradition versus TikTok energy, a full-blown cultural collision. And trust me, the story wasn't slowing down. It was only accelerating. What started as a petty feud now had the whole culture locked in. The hip-hop community, gossip blogs, podcasters, even mainstream outlets couldn't resist weighing in. Some framed it as Charleston White versus celebrity privilege, while others painted it as T.I. failing to control his household. The media couldn't get enough. They loved nothing more than a juicy rapper versus critic storyline. Talk shows ran White's rants on repeat next to T.I.'s furious clapbacks like it was breaking news. Radio callers were split down the middle, some saying T.I. needs to sit down and just focus on music, while others insisted, if somebody comes for your child, you ride for them, no questions asked. It became the classic tug-of-war, logic versus loyalty. Meanwhile, fake investigative reports only fueled the circus. Alleged leaks claimed Charleston White was under federal watch for inciting online harassment, while other so-called docs suggested T.I. had filed a personal defamation complaint, something most people didn't even know existed. But the internet doesn't care about facts. It thrives on spectacle, and spectacle is exactly what this beef was serving. Then came the twist nobody saw coming: whispers of industry retaliation. Behind the scenes, rumors started bubbling that powerful figures in the game were plotting to silence Charleston for good, turning what looked like internet antics into a saga with real consequences. Word on the street was wild. Anonymous insiders claimed some of T.Y.'s allies had started quietly pulling strings to shut Charleston White down. Rumors flew that promoters were suddenly canceling his speaking gigs, venues were rechecking contracts, and even certain platforms were shadow banning his content. Now, whether any of that was true didn't even matter. Once Twitter and Instagram grabbed the narrative, it became gospel. Suddenly, people were convinced T.I. was moving like a mafia boss, cutting off Charleston's oxygen supply one booking at a time. And the craziest part? Charleston loved it. Instead of folding, he flipped the rumors into rocket fuel. He went live, grinning ear to ear, and shouted, "See? I told y'all these rappers scared of me. They can't handle the truth, so they try to silence me. But you can't cancel the truth." His followers ate it up, cheering him on like he was some kind of digital revolutionary. Hashtags like #CharlestonCensored and #TruthHurts started trending, and the spectacle only got bigger. But here's the irony. While Charleston was gaining clout off the chaos, King Harris was drowning in a whole different spotlight. Every move he made became content. If he hit the club, blogs tore him apart. If he posted a story flexing cash, his comments filled instantly with Charleston memes. It got so brutal that even unrelated Harris family posts were flooded with troll attacks. For a young man just trying to carve out his lane, it was suffocating. And that's when the narrative flipped again. Some fans started sympathizing with King, arguing that no matter his mistakes, he was still a kid navigating fame and family pressure. They asked the question out loud: was Charleston White crossing the line from commentary into straight-up cyberbullying? Think pieces popped up, bloggers debated whether laughing at Charleston's antics made the culture complicit, and suddenly the moral high ground wasn't so clear anymore. But don't get it twisted. T.I. wasn't backing down. If anything, he doubled up. Whispers spread that he was locking arms with industry allies, building a wall of protection around his family and sending a message to Charleston. This fight wasn't over, not by a long shot. Celebrities started chiming in too, some dropping subliminal shots online that were clearly aimed at Charleston White. It felt like an army was quietly lining up, bracing for whatever wild move Charleston would try to pull next. And just when it seemed like the circus couldn't get any crazier, boom! A leaked audio clip hit the internet. The tape supposedly caught Charleston admitting that his rants were nothing but a hustle, that he didn't even believe half the things he said about rappers and their families. Real or fake didn't matter. Once it leaked, it spread like wildfire. The internet pounced, calling him a hypocrite, accusing him of exploiting outrage as a money-making scheme while pretending to be the voice of the streets. But Charleston, the self-proclaimed king of controversy, didn't break a sweat. He laughed it off and bragged, "Even if it's fake, it's still making me money." Thank you. With that one line, he flipped the scandal into fuel, spinning the whole fiasco into yet another trending moment. Love him or hate him, the man knows how to milk chaos for clout. Meanwhile, King Harris tried to grab back control of his own story. He posted a heartfelt message saying he wanted to be judged for who he is, not just for being T.I. and Tiny's son. He admitted he'd made mistakes, but made it clear he wasn't about to live under the shadow of memes, gossip, and nonstop trolling. The post hit different. Some praised King for showing maturity beyond his years, while others dismissed it as damage control. But for once, the narrative tilted slightly in his favor. For a moment, people weren't laughing at him, they were listening to him. And just as the conversation seemed to shift towards sympathy, the fallout began, and it was uglier than anyone expected. Commentators and analysts couldn't resist weighing in, speculating on the long-term fallout of this messy feud. Could T.I.'s reputation as a family man take a permanent hit? Would Charleston White finally push things too far and face real legal action or even an industry-wide blacklist? And what about King Harris? Would this whole fiasco stamp his name before his career even had a chance to start? Some took it even further, whispering that the government might step in, citing harassment and defamation laws. But the wildest conspiracy of them all? That Charleston White was secretly working with law enforcement, using his platform to bait rappers into incriminating themselves. Sounds insane, right? But in the world of internet gossip, the crazier the theory, the faster it spreads. At the core, this feud wasn't just entertainment. It became a mirror reflecting bigger issues. The cost of parenting in the spotlight, the dangers of internet fame, and the razor-thin line between accountability and outright bullying. And one truth stood taller than all the noise. In today's culture, controversy sells better than talent. And this saga, it refused to cool off. Every time it looked like the drama was dying down, another exclusive leak or viral rumor dropped, throwing gasoline back on the fire. As long as T.I. and Charleston White kept trading shots, directly or through slide jabs, the internet kept showing up, popcorn in hand, ready for the next episode like it was a binge-worthy series. Because let's be real, this isn't just drama anymore, it's content. And in 2025, content is king. What started as petty trash talk exploded into a full-blown war over respect, family, and survival in the brutal arena of fame. We've watched careers crumble over less, reputations built and destroyed in the unforgiving court of public opinion. Now the real question hangs in the air. Who's actually winning this war? Is Charleston White the fearless truth teller exposing what the industry tries to hide? Or is he just another clout chaser, willing to drag a young man through the mud for clicks, cash, and chaos? Either way, one thing's clear, this saga is far from over. On the flip side, let's ask the hard questions. Is T.I. really the protective father standing tall against blatant disrespect? Or has he let his emotions spiral into a storm that only feeds Charleston White's chaos? And where does that leave King Harris in this mess? Is he just a victim of nonstop internet bullying, or a rising star being forced to grow up fast while the world watches him stumble through the spotlight like it's a circus ring? What's clear is this fallout is nowhere near finished. This saga isn't a one-and-done headline. It's a slow unraveling, leak by leak, diss by diss, each chapter wilder than the last. The industry is watching, the fans are watching, and most importantly, you are watching. So here's the million-dollar question. Should T.I. keep swinging back, fighting fire with fire until one of them burns out? Or should he step back and let Charleston White's chaos eat him alive from the inside? And what about King? Does he stay silent, let time do the healing? Or does he step into the storm and prove he can handle the heat of fame on his own terms? And that's the thing about this feud. It's no longer just about Charleston White running his mouth or T.I. defending his son. This is bigger. It's about family versus fame, clout versus respect, and the ugly truth that in today's culture, controversy gets more attention than accomplishments. Careers can collapse in days, reputations can flip overnight, and one viral rant can shape the narrative for years to come. Charleston White is playing the game with zero rules, and T.I. is swinging back with the full force of a father who refuses to be disrespected. Meanwhile, King Harris is caught in the middle, a young man being forced to grow up with the world judging every move he makes. The stakes, higher than ever, the internet, addicted to every second of it. So the question remains, who's really in control here? Is Charleston the puppet master pulling strings, or just another loud voice waiting to crash and burn? Is T.I. protecting his legacy, or falling into a trap that only makes the circus bigger? And will King Harris rise above the noise, or be defined by it forever? One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. And when the next chapter drops, you know BarzBuzz will have the receipts, the breakdowns, and the raw truth you won't find anywhere else. Stay tuned, because this isn't just drama. This is history in the making.